Hello, everyone, and welcome back to LAMC 2023. We're very excited to be part of this very important music summit with this incredible panelists, professionals of the music industry. We have with us Ana Martinez of Amazon, Leticia Ramirez from Pandora, Andrea Barbosa from YouTube Music, Eri Santiago from Spotify, Miguel Sainz from ONErpm, and I am Gabriel Llano, Head of Artist Services for TikTok for Spanish-speaking Latam. It's a real honor to be part of this Beyond the Playlist panel. We'll be discussing very cool ideas to help you artists to get better results around your projects. And we want to thank the LAMC organization to invited us to be part of this. So now we can kick off this discussion, and I would like to start this discussion with Miguel and for the rest. So please, can you introduce yourself before I answer the first question? And the first question would be, what advice do you have for artists that are starting their careers or starting to release their first song and album?
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Gabo, and thanks, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. This is a super interesting panel. So I'm Miguel Sainz. I'm head of marketing for the Latin Iberia region. And regarding the question, what's the advice? I think that artists need to understand the new music business era, right? Now we live in a really amazing opportunity in which artists can really live from their content. All of us who are working in this music industry with YouTube, with Pandora, we all allow artists and content creators to actually monetize the content and actually create a living and a really good living with their content. And I think that that's a really huge opportunity for artists. So the advice that I think it's important for them when they are starting is to understand that they have that possibility, so they can start building up to that, to actually build a sustainable business from their content.
Cool. Andrea, what do you think?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Andrea Barbosa, and I manage artist relations for YouTube Music for LATAM. So pretty much the day-to-day relationship with definite artists or management companies based in Mexico City. And to answer your question, Gabo, so I think, plus one to everything that Miguel said. I think that right now we're in such a huge opportunity in terms of I feel whenever I feel or hear that people are saying like a certain genre is just getting more popular, I feel like it's not exactly about moments of popularity. I feel just like the information is getting faster to more people all the time. So it's so much music. I feel like the basic advice that I would give to artists is definitely educate yourselves, with all of the platforms, all of the social media that's out there. Educate how it works, how it's getting to more people, with the pace that we're facing every day. And of course, know your project, right? Just basically know how you're standing out and how you relate to other people, and how are you're planning to actually make a difference, and bring something new to the table, because that's pretty much what the audience is looking for, right? It's a matter of just like knowing exactly what you're offering, and trying to maybe like assemble a team, because there's so many platforms right now, and so many things that they have to do. They're not just artists, they're content creators, right? So basically assemble a team, assemble a team to help you out, because it's not easy. Either that or plan out a calendar, how's your time set up, how much can you commit to being present in all of these platforms, to make a name of yourself. And of course, creating a moment around your release and asking yourself, how do you want to relate to your audience or your fans? That would be my advice.
Great insight. Leticia, what do you think?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me be a part of the panel. I'm Leticia Ramirez. I'm a Latin programmer and content producer for Pandora in the US. I think this is a really important question, and I agree with my colleagues about education and preparation. I think my piece of advice for anyone that's going to release a song or album for the first time or early in their career is both those pieces. One, educate yourself on the music landscape, and that's all forms of what that means. Marketing, the economy of it. I think it's important for any artist to understand what the music industry really is, to fully prepare yourself and to have the acknowledgement of the things that you want to do and you don't want to do. Also, I do think that a piece of advice is to know the differences between the different platforms that exist nowadays, what their reach is, who their audience is, and what messaging and how you change your message to self-promote yourself within the strengths of all the platforms that exist.
Very important comments. Anna, how can you follow up?
Well, plus one to everyone that has said. And well, hi, my name is Hannah, and I lead artist and labor relations for Latin Global from Amazon Music. And I guess it can be quite overwhelming, right? Like for the artist, like as Andrea was saying, like I'm starting in a business where there are so many options. Like a lot of songs are released each week, so always the question is, how can I develop a career? Or as Miguel was saying, how can I develop a living from this? And make it sustainable and make it work, maybe if I'm an artist, like for the craft I'm doing. But I guess yeah, totally educate yourself. But I think Andrea, you said something really important, is to have a plan, even if it starts like a calendar or something as close as possible. And how do you envision? Because sometimes you might have your day job and then at night or weekends do this, and I guess it can be really frustrating on how to have both, having being successful. But I guess that having this kind of, even if it's a calendar or a planning, but also what do you want to achieve, what are the stages you want to set for yourself, because it's not like in day one or in the first month or year you achieve like everything. And also to question yourself, what's success for you? What's something that can be successful for you? Is it to first make a living of this? Is it to do certain venues? Is it to tour? I would say to set up those challenges you want to achieve and then plan backwards. I know it sounds super easy, but I also agree with you on this one, Andrea, is to be with people that can help to get you there. It's difficult to be, as an aspiring artist, someone that can have like this all this amazing team or a lot of people with you, but I guess there might be people that can connect with what you're doing. So I would say to be really vocal and transparent on who you are, what do you want to communicate with your music, and I guess people will start following you, and maybe during your career, even if they're not working only with you or in your team, they can help you with advice. So yeah, I would say that it's easier than ever to develop a network, even if you're a songwriter and you want to make a music camp, or you want to understand about marketing. And Miguel, I know you do this amazing workshops like for marketing, and you help the artists to get to know the tools out there, and many of this or most of this is free. So yeah, educate yourself, and I guess there are a lot of tools there. Set up a planning and understand how do you want to, or how do you envision your career.
Great comments. Eddie, do you want to follow?
Of course. First off, thank you guys for having me on today's panel. My name is Eddie Santiago. I'm the head of US Latin Artist Partnerships here at Spotify. Plus one to what all my colleagues said here, a lot of great resources that you guys shared. One thing that I would add for an artist releasing their first song or their first project is don't forget to have fun. Music, a lot of us do it because we're passionate about it and we believe in the art and we create it and we want to share it with the world. And that's something that's very important to remember. Once you tie a lot of expectations to when you're releasing things, that's when things become a little bit hairy and you get a little bit frustrated and it could be a little bit discouraging. But if you're releasing your first project, be proud of it, go for it, understand the resources, like my colleague said, that are available to you, and make sure that you're learning from the process. Nothing is ever perfect in the artist's mind, right? Like you're always evolving and how I could have done this better. Embrace that feedback as it comes in from yourself, and just make sure you have fun and enjoy the process.
Well, it's amazing to hear all these great ideas. Plus one in every single comment. I'll be very brief. I'll suggest like to draw a line of how are you in all platforms, in all your followers so that you have a base so you can understand how you're growing with your releases. And of course, building a plan of content and understand how to engage with your communities and understand how to better communicate with them so that when you have your release and you're asking their followers to go and hear your song, they actually go and do it and engage. So have a plan with clear objectives and a content plan to be able to accomplish these objectives. So moving on, I would like to start with you, Eddie. um, what is something that you love seeing in artists in relation to streaming strategies and audience and digital audiences building? What could be your comment here?
For sure. So something that I love artists to do is be your own fan. I think that's incredibly important. I think a lot of artists partner with marketing agencies or their labels to create these awesome marketing plans to support their music. But something that's so important is be an advocate of your music, post on your social channels. You as the artist understand your listeners the best and your fans the best, how to engage with them on Instagram or Facebook or any TikTok, any social media platform. You speak to them directly. That moves the needle the most, right? Because you are being that main advocate for your project. And if you're excited and pushing for it, they're going to be just as excited too. So that should be included in any marketing plan. It's, of course, there's the ad buys and all the great tools that are available, but sometimes I notice that it could seem a little bit like it's not so cool to post so much, or do you post so much? Like there's always these questions of like, what's the right formula? And that'll probably never be figured out. Every artist is different and they have their own case. So just as long as you're a fan and authentic with relating to your audience, they're going to feel that and they're going to consume your music.
Nice. Anna, how can you follow up on this idea?
Well, totally agree with that Eddie said. And I was just going to say this one, as Eddie was saying that the last one, have fun and at least give it a try. I know there are a lot of tools out there, a lot of social channels, and maybe if I'm an artist that I don't like to do lives, I don't like to make, funny jokes and stuff, and I just want to talk about my music, I would say whatever is the case of your personality or the messages you want to deliver that can maybe enhance the experience or the message you're delivering to the audience through the music, is just to stay true to your core, because consistency, I guess, is something that it's really important. Even if you're releasing music, I'm not saying like each week or each month, it depends, as Eddie was saying, but consistency is really important. And also to know that these tools make the fans be closer to you. It doesn't matter. And after the pandemic, so many things changed on how people perceive the artists and the contents and how they embrace them, that I guess that with these tools, you feel closer to the audience. Even if you're doing a world tour and eventually you will be in X or Y country, for the fans, they make you feel closer. And I've just seen a couple of artists that I've seen them like having fun on socials and doing their stuff. For example, I love Cari Leon, that he's always doing music, right? He's not like doing jokes and stuff. And I found a lot of others that make jokes and fun of them. Or, for example, super funny Grupo Firme or Edwin, that they do a lot of content on what's happening backstage and in the trips. And it really engages me as a fan. Like I might expect to see them like, oh wow, what are they doing? What do they leave like after they get into the scenario or in the concert? And it's just that, to stay true to your core. And I love seeing this artist play in novel ways with the tools, because some tools were created for something or with some purpose, but I really enjoy when they repurpose what they're doing with the tools. So I would say it's just stay true to what you do.
Thank you so much for this, Anna. Leticia, what do you think?
I agree. I think, and especially now in the climate that we live in, with how fans engage with their artists, their favorite artists or artists that they're discovering, being organic to who you are and thinking outside the box. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to do everything that everyone else is doing. If you are true to yourself and your message is clear, and people get a really good deep dive understanding of what you represent and what art you're trying to give to the public, that is what I think everybody loves seeing. Everybody loves seeing the differences between artist X to artist Y. Why is this person so intriguing? Why do I want to know more? As long as you're organic in that intention, that is what resonates with people. And that as a music lover resonates with me too. And the decisions that a panel like this makes in their lives and could also help those artists as well. So I love seeing organic, creative, unique ideas come out of people because it's a level of fear that doesn't exist. And for some reason, that is what moves us now. It moves us to see people who go there and to show some deeper insight of who they are and what they do and why they do it.
Very important comments. Andrea, what do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with what everyone has said here. And I think that's basically it, right? I think what we love to see is the artist just being themselves, just have, like Eddie was saying before, having fun with it, right? I think what I love to see is basically that kind of like creating either like expectations like pre-release and like saying, oh, that is so Grupo Firme, or that is so Karin Leon, that is, I don't know, like always like being so present in all the platforms. Oh, that is so Camilo, but we never see, any information from this artist, like, oh, and all of a sudden, like the Beyonce reappearing out of nowhere, that is so Beyonce. So I think that's the kind of thing that we're always like catching up with our favorite artists and like enjoying their personalities on how they decide to either release something, tease something, and just having fun with their audiences. I think that, and then also mixed with the moment that they're sharing fan content, that is always being generated as well, because they keep the ball rolling in what's happening with their moments, with their careers, with their lives. And I think I love to see when the artist is acknowledging these moments or acknowledging the fans on what they're doing to keep the trending, or the going viral. I think that it's basically rewarding them from something that they're causing, which is this success of the artist. So I also love to see that. In my opinion, I think that's also important.
Totally agree with you, Andrea. And I would just add to this that in many cases in TikTok, we have seen that when the artist includes or starts working with its communities and include them in the creative process of the song, of the video, of the name of the song, of the pictures you're gonna take, or the same art of the single, they feel part of the project. And so when you release the song, and because they feel part of the project, you boost your results in streaming platforms. So I would encourage you guys to always like try to be creative with your audiences and make them part of this process. Miguel, do you want to follow?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so adding up a little bit on what you already said, because I think that, I agree with all of you. I think that we've talked a lot about education and creativity and passion, and I think that at the end of the day, artists nowadays have like these opportunities to be really creative on how they are engaging with their audiences. There's no rules. There isn't anything written in stone. And Eddie was just mentioning that you will be reading like a lot of blog posts about how should you communicate, or how many posts, or at what time, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, there are no rules, and all of the artists have different audiences and different ways to engage with them. So something that I love seeing with artists is when they think outside of the box, using all of these different tools that are out there. And I'm not talking about like the DSPs or social media. I'm also talking about I don't know, maybe newsletters, or maybe we're now talking about Web3 and artificial intelligence. There are a lot of things that can bring new things to the table, and create new ways to engage with the audiences and to talk with them. So that's what excites me the most.
Nice. So for the next question, we know that digital platforms have many tools for artists, and these tools are made up to promote their music and understand their data. I want to hear from you guys from the perspective of Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, YouTube, ONErpm. what are you offering artists and their teams of tools, of features to promote the music? Leticia, do you want to start?
Sure. Well, Pandora is one of the more legacy DSPs, and we had early on a dashboard and metrics and data platform for creators and artists to be able to go back and reference their performance on platform. And that has evolved to a tool that we have for marketing, which is called AMP, AMP. And it's basically this dashboard of self-serve method of being able to promote yourself and your content on the platform. And you can engage your artists directly by adding voice messages, promoting your events or activities that you'll have in the US. It's really a tool that can serve you as best as you are willing to invest the time in. So we have a great marketing platform that you can use in the same way that you're using your social media, but directly messaging your fans and engagement on the Pandora platform. And it's been great. We get a lot of feedback from a lot of artists where they get so much useful information, even to the point of being able to look at where their majority of listening is happening on the platform and planning their gigs around those dates, because they can geographically see that type of the level of data. And it's helped them promote themselves in areas of the US that they didn't think they had fans in. It's able to get gigs in areas and cities of the US that they didn't think that they would have any reach. And so having that transparency of where you're being heard, and also being able to speak through this marketing platform to through Pandora, it's a level of engagement that we see a lot of increase in spins, and the level of discovery has opened up to a lot of people via this marketing tool that we present. And we also offer a lot of training sessions if you don't know how to use it, and it's accessible around the world. So even if you're not in the US, you can promote your content in the US.
Nice. Anna, from Amazon point of view, what can you tell us?
Well, we have this app which can be seen either in mobile or in web, which is Amazon Music for Artists. And we know everyone is always on the run, right? So even if you're in your mobile or about to catch a plane or anything, it's super easy to access. Once you claim the artist profile, you can add people to your team. What does it mean? That all these people have access to your profile. Even if it's for editing, like the ABCs, like to edit the photos each time you're going to do a release, have a new photo and stuff, and also check the stats and not just the numbers and keep it there. I find it like really exciting when the artists saw their numbers, because there are a lot of fun ways that people consume music in Amazon Music. One is for sure playlists, the other is the stations, but we have also voice, right? Which is amazing. And we've seen a lot of really cool examples on how the artists engage their audiences, like making them request by voice in really fun ways. They film themselves in their kitchens or they're airplane and doing like really fun stuff, and then you see like that spike in consumption. So I guess it's not just knowing the number to know the number. I think it's really relevant, as Leticia was saying, like, yeah, you see the countries or the places where your music is being consumed. But something that I find really cool about Amazon Music for Artists is that you get to know the journey of your songs, because it's a really different how they work in playlists than in stations and then in voice. And you can see also it's kind of a thermometer in voice, and you can see a timeline where you see when did it happen. So let's say that you did a TV show or something, and then you see the spike, or you can do things that you can immediately measure. So as maybe you will start with a really small team, it's really easy for you and just in the palm of your hand to do something, then try, measure, and then try something else. But also the tools we have to help the creators is that in this app, you can pitch for your songs. For sure, we have the Via, where we have labels and distributors talking to us all the time. But if you don't want to rely on anyone, you can pitch directly your music and your song. We have also some cool tools, like one called Spotlight, where the artist like literally can get Amazon for Music for Artists like record a message, like a voice message, and pin it to your profile. And you can link it either to an album. Let's say that, hey guys, today this album is 10th anniversary or something like that, and you pin it to your profile. Or, you know what, guys, I was remembering when I did the song and I got so excited. You just tell the story and you don't rely on, you know, like recording the thing, having someone to put it over there in your profile and stuff. It's like really immediately. So we really like to have everything at the palm of your hand and done like self-service immediately. And also even merch on demand. If someone is interested in on finding another way to monetize and you don't have the team to do it, we can also provide that service, which is merch on demand. So a bunch of stuff that you can find there.
Very interesting tools. Thank you. Andrea, how about YouTube?
Well, as you know, like YouTube is a multi-format platform, so there's just so many things that the artist can do. I mean, in terms of like DIY, just to promote a release or promote a moment in their careers. There's obviously uploading teasers, uploading messages in your community tab, creating a live moment, and then releasing the official video. Of course, there's a whole strategy of what to do before, during, and after a release. And it's just a matter of how you're going to be able to upload content, to make the most out of a song, because we do know that it's difficult for an artist to release new music, in the frequency that maybe some are expected to. But the activity, the engagement with the fans or the audience is just so important that we always suggest to do like alternative videos for the same song, lyric videos. They're so huge on YouTube, because if the artist doesn't give it to them, they're going to do it themselves, right? But there's also the part of the user generated content that's always good to, for trending a song, to go for going viral. The fans can do it for them as well. So we're always trying to educate our partners on how to use the different formats in the platform, in their channel, to be able to reach more people. And of course, there's shorts, right? So shorts is now here in the short format party. We knew that YouTube has a very strong algorithm to give music, according to your habits, according to your taste in music. And now shorts is here to keep people, put people out of their bubble, right, and reach new music, so the artists can reach new audiences and new fans, and just be more out there, and what we're seeing in the results of shorts is just, it's working so well that we're seeing now. You can see in YouTube analytics, right? In YouTube analytics, you can see I think the strongest asset there is to see the engagement with the fans, to see which videos are resonating more and which are generating more subscribers. And now we're seeing the subscribers generated from those shorts, like people discovering, because after all, shorts is there as a discovery tool, right? So now we're seeing how many people are actually engaging and discovering this new artist through shorts, through different user-generated content, and keep that moment going. And of course, YouTube Analytics, which is, you can you have it, in YouTube Studio and in the app, for iOS, for Android, and the artist can actually see what's going on in terms of what's happening with the song, what's happening with the channel, the activity, and what's making people stay. And of course, that will always be tools that are able to make a difference in terms of like strategy. You're able to do more clever decisions, strategically, according to those numbers that you're seeing in YouTube Analytics. And of course, there's also so many information out there. There's a lot you can do in your channel, and there's artists.youtube.com, and you can see a lot of like workshops, a lot of useful information that you can see and how to use this different tools. Yeah, there's a lot. so yeah.
A lot, yeah. Eddie, what can you tell us?
So to help artists promote their music and manage their data, Spotify has this wonderful tool called Spotify for Artists, which essentially serves as a hub for everything that the artist needs to know in terms of what's happening with their music on our platform. So there they can look at city charts, country charts, how a specific song is performing, where it's performing, when it's performing. So the live analytics that are there are incredibly helpful. It helps you identify trends. This platform, Spotify for Artists, is available on mobile and on web. So there's tons of metrics that I can sit here and talk about hours about. When you're on Spotify for Artists, we have video tutorials that kind of give you a basic run through of, you know, what each tool means, what is it telling you. So I definitely encourage artists to check that out on that platform. And it also helps you look at the business holistically. So there's merch options. So if you have a new album coming out or tour and want to put some merch out there, Spotify for Artists can help you get that to your artist profile. There's also something that we have called discovery mode. So, you know, you let your fans know what is the priority single for them to discover or project, which it's a really simple tool. You just go right into your Spotify for Artists once you have your account, and you can go ahead and help inform Spotify what are the priorities that you're working with. And then also we have something that's rolling out called Spotify Clips, where artists can really engage with their fans on a personal level. So recording custom clips that will live on your artist page to help tell the story beyond the song, you know, what inspired you, what's there. So it's a huge suite. I'm definitely summarizing it as quick as possible. So I encourage all artists to go ahead and claim their Spotify for Artists profile and dive in, and you'll find wonders there.
Nice, Miguel. What can you tell us?
Well, ONErpm is not a DSP. We're a music solutions provider. But regarding like the tools that we give artists to promote and to to know their audiences, to promote their content and know their audiences, we have been always like looking into data and how to interpret it. So we give artists different ways to see their live analytics, their streams from different streaming platforms, and we also provide them a calendar in which they can take a look at the different marketing tactics that we as ONErpm are doing, or them as like DIY artists are making, so they can cross-relate the information between the marketing tactics and notice if that specific tactic made a peak or passed the peak in consumption. So that's something that is really changing the game for some of our content creators. And regarding like some promotional tools that we have in the page, we also help artists to create pre-saves, content promotional tools. So there's a lot of different things that an artist can do on ONErpm side. But I think that the most important thing is to try to get the information and understand the insights. Not only look at the numbers. I think that Anna was the one who was mentioning that, and I think that that's amazing because we live in an era of information and we have a lot of data, like a lot of data, and it's really difficult for an artist to actually understand and get different insights from it. So we are trying to help artists with these tools to actually understand if those things that they're implementing with their teams are actually helping them, so they can also make better decisions when they're promoting their music.
Yeah, great insights from everyone. I think that in general terms, what we're all trying to do is give features to help artists to understand better their business and their audiences that impact in their consumption. And from TikTok side, what we do is that we generate a lot of genre campaigns, many diversified hashtags, challenges for artists to engage and create content. We have the live features. Of course, we have data center. And of course, we try also to create special moments as when on TikTok. So in the end, what we're trying to do is incentivize the artists to keep on creating content so that they keep an activeness with their audiences. So of course, they are always engaged with their music. Okay, so following with the next question, I think that nowadays we are all very focused on giving opportunities to underrepresented groups. Can you each of you speak about the importance of representation and diversity from your point of view? Let's start with Andrea.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so, like you said, Gabo, it's just so important because there's so much music and so much information, and sometimes we really have to. I think it's our responsibility as leaders of these DSPs and like music organizations to be aware of, like are we representing equally? Are we pushing artists, like equally in gender, genre? We at YouTube, like for example, we have the Black Voices Fund, which is this program to actually support Black emerging talent. We've been doing like initiatives, for female artists, to actually like to do more education. Whenever we have a YouTube program regarding, no matter what the topic, we're always looking to have like a lot of representation and diversity, like are we putting equal numbers of men, women, artists that are part of the LGBTQ. I always get the order wrong, but we have of course here at Google so many organizations. We have Pride at Google, so all of these cross-functional initiatives at Google, well, which YouTube is, under that umbrella. We always try to be part of that in terms of like, how can we include artists that are being part, like Women at Google, or, the Pride at Google, to see how we can create community, and also, just pay attention to these artists that are underrepresented, to see how we can actually pay attention to them, and be part of the history, be part of that growth, with them, to actually like take them by the hand, like, hey, I see you, I hear you, let's work together, right? Because I know sometimes it's not easy, and the underrepresentation makes them to be maybe like stuck somewhere, right? And there's so many good music, on those parts. And you think that maybe, like, how is this artist, with this low numbers? Let's work together. Let's find a way to actually have these tools and resources at YouTube, part of the programs that we have, so we can actually be part of that growth together, and be proud of that, of course, that we were there and we were part of that moment and that change.
Nice. Anna, how can you follow?
I guess it's not something that it's being done just in a certain month, right? Like June for Pride or March for women. We always have like an evergreen mindset, because we find many people on any of these communities having a strong voice, but also strong message. And it's not only related if you're women or not. It's okay, I'm a woman, but there are some things. There are things happening around me. So, for example, we for sure have a bunch of content that we support. We pay for it, and also we market it because we want it for people. I mean, market it in terms of getting to wider audiences. But we want that these voices have as broad as the audience as they can. First of all, they're musicians, and most of their songs sometimes talk about this or not, but many of them are really vocal. And I can give you a couple of examples. For example, Carla Morrison has always been like super vocal with mental health and stuff. So we made an Amazon original podcast with her, where we were able to help her to brought some guests and talk about this. So that was one example. Or Mavilan, we did like this mini documentary on some struggles that she has had in terms of racial things that have happened to her, like where she's from and stuff. So we try to tell their stories, amplify them, reflect what their journey was, because many people feel inspired by seeing them. Or for example, we do experiential things like last Grammys, we did a showcase in partnership with BMI with Mexican music composers, but all of them were women. So we brought a bunch of people like managers and stuff to know them. So we facilitated all the networking and the place for this to happen. Or even we did this event in Puerto Rico where it was about the urban strategy we have, which is called El Género, and we invited Young Miko because there's this always messaging that we need more women to be in the genre. So we had the chance to have an original song with her to promote it, to give it a spotlight to her. Or even with Johnny Castro from Grupo Firme, Amazon was involved in the Pride Parade here in the States. So we invited him as being part of what Amazon was doing there. So it's not just, as I was saying, just have like this months to talk about it, but throughout the year and throughout all the contents we're able to push, we want to amplify their stories and their voices.
Eddie, what can you tell us?
It's very refreshing to hear my colleagues are doing things from the represented groups as well, because as we know, it's a very real issue that we face in this world. It's the playing field is just not even, and we have the responsibility of creating that. So at Spotify, we have three actually specific programs that help with that. So we have our Equal initiative, which is a year-round initiative that happens globally. We have local versions of it in LATAM, Europe, Asia, and here in the US, which is specifically designed to elevate women, giving them the space that they much very well deserve to showcase their art, prioritize them. And to date, our numbers have been astronomical in getting that visibility for women and making sure that they're well represented across the Spotify ecosystem and all the playlists and everything we do. And then on the LGBTQ side, we have a program that we actually launched earlier this year, which is called Glow. It's our initiative that we invite all our LGBTQ artists to really share their art with us and have the safe space, right? We understand that LGBTQ audience necessarily don't have safe spaces. So we invite them to come to our platform, experience our tools, share your art with us. And I think one thing that's very important as well is it's so open, and it's not like you're bucketed in like, you know, you are an LGBTQ artist, so you are part of this program only. Like Glow is just a stepping stone to the wider Spotify ecosystem and really amplifying those voices and hearing them. And then for the Black creators, we have a wonderful program called Frequency, which elevates Black voices and making sure that they have their time to shine. And, you know, the team that runs Frequency has done an amazing job at really elevating those and being in the cultural now. And what does that look like? What does that sound like? And making sure that when we look at Spotify holistically outside of these programs, that there's just like a real leveled playing field and everyone is bringing their best self forward in a safe space.
Very interesting. Leticia, what do you want to add?
Like, I'm super impressed with everyone's programs and initiatives. I'm so glad that across we are taking the responsibility of amplifying voices so seriously within all of our organizations. I think it's really important that the audience know that we're being represented. We're trying to be in those conversations, in the rooms where those decisions are being made. So it's not just about the audience trying to get recognized, but we are trying to be advocates internally at our organizations. And that's really important work that I think we're all doing. We have very similar programs on the content basis about amplifying women's voices and Black voices, people of color, and genders. So I'm glad to see that we're all doing the work across all of our companies. I also think just to zero in on Latin overall, even within our Latin space, we have to represent all the subgenres that Latin represents. And that is something that, you know, a lot of people have talked about still needing some work. And so my focus as a programmer is making sure that all the subgenres within Latin, the huge world that Latin is, and all the music and colors that come by are all represented in an editorial way that's authentic to those subgenres. That's important. We have a suite of stations that celebrate Afro-Latinos and that world, and how that world is compromised as well, and those sounds and the historic value of that music too. So it's important that we're evergreen with representation, and also that we are true to representing cultural groups and then authentic, and that we curate that to be as true as possible. Because if there's one listener out there that has an interest in a very specific type of music, a specific type of culture group, we want to make sure that we're representing them and that they get equal and visibility as they deserve to be.
Great insights. I think that for TikTok, diversity and inclusion is key. And we also try to keep evergreen moments around Black History Month, Mujeres que Inspiran, Pride. And the good thing from TikTok is that we look at from the perspective of educations, sports, gaming, lifestyle, entertainment, music, so that we can represent all the majority of people that we can. And we need to keep doing this work because it's very important to give visibility to as much people as we can. But changing a bit of area, Miguel, how are the tools, platforms, and programs from ONErpm helping artists and labels find new audiences and increase streams in digital platforms?
I mean, I just want to like touch base here because I think that it's on the last question, because I think it's super important to like to summarize a little bit on how important is what we're talking about, like building these new spaces for underrepresented groups from a label or a distributor standpoint is really tangible. When we calculate, or when we analyze how many underrepresented groups are uploading music to the DSPs, the results are really surprising, because like there's it's not an even playing field, as Eddie was mentioning. So I think it's really important to continue speaking about like these success stories, because this will inspire more artists, and they will actually notice how feasible this to actually be successful or actually build a career is for real. So yeah, that's something that I just wanted to mention. And coming back to your question, Gabo, sorry about it. I know that I skipped a little bit. I mean, we're trying to push artists with all of this marketing, these innovative marketing strategies. We're trying to have feet on the ground with specialized people who can actually provide new ideas to the artists and to the artist teams, so they can push their audiences further. We are trying to create a more international team as well, because I think that what the digital world is allowing us is also to get to new territories. So that is something that we build on every day, trying to be innovative, not only in marketing, but also in technology. And that will help artists also like developing their audiences.
Unfortunately, time is running to an end. So just to close up and very fast, I would ask you, each one of you, to please give very last advice to all the people that are watching this, for all the artists. What can you suggest or advise to all the artists watching this panel? Miguel, what do you can share?
So this is something that we've been mentioning a lot, but understand that the music business is changing every day. Trying to like educate, read a lot about new technologies, about new opportunities. It's a must for new artists. Don't think that editorial support will be the game changer for a career. It's part of it, but there are a lot of different ways for an artist to build an audience. So I think it's important on that would be like the advice.
Eddie.
For sure. So piece of advice for artists watching this panel is, like I mentioned at the beginning, be a fan of your music, advocate for your music, build a reliable team. Teamwork is incredibly important. Having the right people on your side with their respective areas of expertise is always helpful. Staying organized, really create a plan. Like if you have a big project coming up, you have singles coming up, what does that look like? What do you need? So you're not scrambling at the last minute and you just have everything in one place. And also get to know your partners, get to know the people in the business, get to know those who are championing your music in terms of like, how can we work together to help amplify my voice, and really understand the business aspect of it as well.
Andrea?
I guess my advice would be take the advice, right? I mean, basically, again, we spoke a lot about education, know, like Eddie said, know your partners, know how to read your numbers, take the advice, but also find the fine line between taking advice, but also be aligned to what you believe in your music, to what you want to pursue, what you think is success. Like Anna said before, stay true to yourself, but, be surrounded by a team that gets your goals, what you're going to, where you're going through, and what you want to pursue in the future in your career.
Anna?
Good ones, by the way. Well, I would say that in a landscape that it's so overwhelming, I would say like know your superpower, what makes you unique, what's your worth, And I'm not saying this like hippies, like really, instead of looking outside and looking the answers outside, first look at you and see what makes you unique, even as a musician, as a composer, in the lyrics you do. And I would say always have a vision. Sometimes you might have a team that can guide you and stuff, but even if you have a manager or anything, have a vision and stay faithful to it. And if you can, maybe if you don't get, if you can have a manager, at least always have a mentor, or always have someone that can get you to the path again whenever you're going out, someone that can get you into the path.
Leticia.
I'm a true believer in that the local grassroots effort for anyone that's an artist is still very valuable. I think we all talked about technology and everything and all the resources that are at one's disposal right now to use and to utilize and to leverage. But the grassroots effort is still important to be known in your neighborhood, in your town, in your city, in your country. All of that matters. The word of mouth is also still very important. So that, accompanied with the technology and the resources that you have as an artist that you can use, but still making sure that you're doing the local efforts, is still important. And it's something that we all, I think, look at too as decision makers. So don't neglect that. Don't rely only on technology. Do the work on the ground too. That's super important.
So to finish, my advice would be believe in yourselves, be organized, enjoy the process, and of course, growth all your followers in all these platforms that we have been in this amazing platform in this panel. So please concentrate yourselves on creating objectives and grow your project in a step-by-step basis. So this was all. Thank you so much for participating. I think it's very valuable for everybody watching this panel, all your ideas. You're great professionals, and your insights, I'm sure that are really appreciated by everyone watching this. So thank you everyone for this.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for leading, Gabo. Thank you, everyone.